India's risk-averse lenders are emerging as one of the biggest hurdles to the speed of the nation's recovery from the pandemic-induced downturn, as they hold back credit when the economy needs it the most. Loans to companies and individuals has been growing at a subdued 5.5% to 6% in recent months, which is half the pace seen before the pandemic struck. Reserve Bank of India data shows the nation's biggest lender, State Bank of India, wants to nearly double its credit growth rate to 10% in the year started April 1 but is willing to miss the goal. It is a very fragile situation, Dinesh Khara, chairman of SBI, said after reporting earnings for the fiscal year ended March. The bank would not compromise on asset quality to achieve targets, he said. Khara's comments underline the biggest obstacle to both credit uptake and economic growth, pegged at 9.5% this year, already reduced from the central bank's previous forecast of 10.5% and following an unprecedented contraction last year. Banks' risk aversion or the fear of sourced loans jumping in a tough economic environment could slow the economy's recovery further, according to analysts including those at the RBI. Credit is a necessary and probably most important ingredient for economic growth, according to S.S. Mundra, a former deputy governor of RBI, who estimated that the multiple factors of credit on nominal gross domestic product growth is 1.6 times. It doesn't help India's case that it's already home to one of the biggest piles of sold loans among major economies, and add to that of the crisis in the shadow banking sector, which culminated in the rescue of 2 lenders and bankruptcy of 2 more over the past couple of years. The RBI expects bank loan ratio to rise to 9.8% by the end of this financial year from 7.48% a year ago. Sluggish capex. While banks are dithering on loans on the one hand, companies are pushing back investment plans amid lack of demand on the other. Corporate willingness for new investments is low, according to the Center for Monitoring Indian Economy Private, with capital expenditure declining. While companies have posted bumpers profits mostly on the back of widespread cost cutting, most have used the extra funds generated to pay down bank loans. According to research from SBI, where economists analyzed the top 15 sectors and 1,000 listed companies, more than 1.7 trillion rupees worth of debt was paid last year. Refineries, steel, fertilizers, mining and mineral products, as well as textile companies alone reduced debt by more than 1.5 trillion rupees, with the trend continuing this year. The bank's chief economist Soumya Kanti Ghosh wrote recently, any meaningful recovery beyond the 10% growth in credit demand will require a substantial turn in the private capex cycle, which still seems sometimes away as corporates are focused on deleveraging, said Teresa John, economist as Nirmal Bank Equities Private in Mumbai. She forecasts GDP growth of 7% this year, which is at the lower end of Bloomberg survey, with consensus at 9.2%.